Hello friends, my name is Catherine and today I want to write an instruction mug. I want to write the instructions for baking a lemon cake, for making a lemon mug cake anyway. A mug cake is a cake that you do in tiny proportions that you can make inside of a mug and zap in the microwave. This one I want to do a lemon one, and for this I've got a Sharpie and the cheapest mug I could find. This one is from the dollar store. You want to make sure that you wipe off all residue, any residue from manufacturing or oil from transit or anything. So for that I've got a baby wipe, because you really don't want anything to come between the Sharpie and the glaze. The idea that we're going to do here is we're going to write on it with the Sharpie, and then we are going to try to melt the glaze so that the Sharpie incorporates into the glaze and doesn't come off when it gets washed. It's a fairly straightforward idea, but I've heard people have had mixed results in practice. What you do to melt the glaze is you put it in your oven and you heat it up. That is essentially what you're going to do, and it doesn't have to fully melt, it just has to get soft enough that the Sharpie sinks into the glaze. So there are a couple of things that are just good sense when putting ceramics in the oven. Put your cup, your mug, in the oven when it is cold, and then turn it on and let it heat up. That's going to be very important because temperature shocks can break ceramics, and you don't want to break something that you've just spent a half an hour, 20 minutes, whatever, writing as nicely as you can on. Other than that, you want to make your oven as hot as it will go. That's going to be important because you're trying to melt the glaze. Another tip is to use the cheapest mugs that you can find, because cheap mugs mean cheap glaze, and hopefully they will melt. The glaze will melt at a lower temperature on the cheap mugs. Not all the time, and this could be a trial and error process, but hopefully the cheap mugs have a cheap glaze, which will melt better than nice mugs will. Other than that, you'll want to leave it in the oven for at that highest temperature possible for as long as possible. The longer you leave it, the softer the glaze is likely to get. Just as the hotter you get your oven, the softer your glaze is likely to get. Beyond that, once you feel like you've left it in for long enough, turn your oven off, leave the door closed, and let it cool down on its own. Let it cool down for at least a half a day before you take your mug out. Again, so that the glaze can harden, but also so that you don't shock the mug by suddenly taking it from a hot temperature to a cool temperature, like room temperature will be in comparison. For me, this means putting my oven on at about 500 and leaving it on an entire afternoon. Now to the fun part, the writing on the mug. If you want your writing to show up to the opposite side of the way that you are holding it so that it can be seen by other people when you're drinking from the mug or eating from the mug, if you're holding it with the handle in your right hand, then when you're writing on it, you want your handle to be in your left hand. Other than that, let's start out with our Sharpie. Let's label it how we want it to be. Let's see. Let's go lemon, mug, cake. Oh, I already ruined it by smearing it. Fantastic. Let me find that baby wipe again and hopefully just wipe it all off and try again because it hasn't dried yet. It was almost starting to dry right in that place. That's okay. There we go. And just really try not to smear it. Or I'm going to really try not to smear it. You might want the smearing look. I don't know. I don't judge. You can want what you want. I want lemon cake. Here we go. So let's start back over again. I haven't planned this out. I've got a recipe written down right here, which you can copy if you want to. I'll also try to include the recipe in the description below. We'll see if I remember. But if this works out, I have other mugs because I would really like to do a series of different ones and then give them as a set. Lemon. Mug. Cake. There we go. Lemon mug cake. So I think I want to include the portions over here. So let's start with 3. And then as small as possible. Tablespoons. 1/4 teaspoon. 1/4 teaspoon. I should probably put the dots after those. 3 tablespoons. Two tablespoons. And then 2 teaspoons. Okay, perfect. Totals, done. Now ingredients. First one is flour, so let's put, trying to make it even on the same line, flour right here. Oh, hang on. Oh, where did that white go? Ah, there it is. Just as out of the way as I can be. Just take that dot out of the way. It's not where I want it. There we go. O U R. And then baking powder, which I'm going to abbreviate as baking P. So let's go B A K I N G, baking B, and then 1 egg. So let's come down here and put an egg on here. Egg. And then sugar. And then vegetable oil, which I'm going to abbreviate as V oil. A little bit because I think it's funny, but also because vegetable's a really long word to spell out across a mug. Oil. Oh, I should be capitalized if I'm going to keep with the rest of my theme here. And then lemon juice. So I'm going to put lemon, and then I'm just going to use a J, I think, because lemon juice ends up being longer than everything else. So let's put lemon. And then the letter J. J. Okay, perfect. And then the instructions, which will be zap, 90 seconds. And then maybe draw like a little lightning bolt right over here. There we go. A little lightning bolt to that side, and maybe one on the opposite side as well, so that you know it means business. Go. Okay, and then maybe like a nice little lemon right over here. What do you think? Like a little dimple, and then a round sort of thing, and another little dimple, and then a round sort of thing, and then maybe like some freckles. There we go. That's a lemon. Put another one. I don't know that I want one right over there. Let's put one right on the top of the handle. That's a good place for a lemon, I feel. So let's do like that little lumpy bit, and then a round part, and then a little lumpy bit, and then a round part, and then like some little dimples. Excellent. Anything else? Anything else that we want? Maybe an egg? No. No, I think that's good. I think that for a first try is pretty all right. I definitely think I want to get a smaller Sharpie, like one of the fine liner ones. So next cup that we do, we might try using like one of the fine liner Sharpies. But this, I think, is a good first step. I will bake it, see how it works out, and I will let you know in the next video when I do the next mug. Well, see you another day. Bye. Oh, remember to subscribe. I put up new videos every day, so if you subscribe, you'll be more likely to see them. You can also select notifications if you want to get notifications when I put up new videos, but quite honestly, it's every day. There's always going to be something new to see. So I will see you tomorrow. Bye.